Hello, my friends. This is Andy over at Today's CBD Oil. I am so happy to be with you here on this Saturday. I'm in Brea, California, and I have a great guest coming to me. I'm assuming from Bend, Oregon. I probably should have asked when I was just talking to him. His name is Rick Gutman. He's the leader of the team that I'm on, which is called Overcome Nation. The overall company that we are a part of is called Vasayo. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those two things and help them make sense to those of you that are watching this for the very first time. But you're going to find this interview, I hope, interesting. He's a very successful person in business in a number of areas like real estate, gems and precious stones, to construction in regard to tile and that kind of stuff. But he has chosen network marketing as a platform to build even more wealth. And so, I think you will find this very interesting. I'm looking forward to this interview, and I hope you find it very interesting. So right after this, we are going to meet Rick Gutman. Hey, Rick, what's happening?
Yo, good to be here with you, man.
Nice to be with you. Are you at home? Are you in Bend, Oregon?
Yes, I am in Bend in until the end of January, so it's
Oh,
gonna be
finally.
nice. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little. I know, right? So, but
I
yeah,
actually got,
I'm
I actually
relaxing.
I actually got a question about that later on about all your travels because, I'll ask you that
Sure.
question when it comes up.
Okay.
But really quick, because I want to get into this because I know I try to keep these interviews short, but son of a gun, I can talk like nobody's business and they go really long. And so I didn't mean to cut you off, but I really did want to get right into discussing a few things. So both we can talk about network marketing and Overcome Nation and learn a little bit about you as the founder of Overcome Nation. But one of the first questions I have for you, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the screen here, is for you. You know, you've had great success in all these other areas. You're a millionaire in real estate and gemstones and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to know why network marketing and why Vasayo.
Well, that's an easy one. Nothing generates cash flow quicker than building in the network marketing space because your income is growing exponentially, right? If you teach me the business and teach one other person the business, and we each go out and just duplicate what you're doing, just getting a couple of people, you now have six different locations or six different cash flowing assets, right? So
Right.
as those six go out and get two, you have 24. Those 24 get two, you have 96 different cash flowing assets. So for the person that wants to get involved in real estate or investing, um, in my opinion, there is nothing that will bring you a pipeline of cash flow to invest into other things than the network marketing space,
All right.
right?
And yeah. And so, people that know you know you're an extremely intelligent man. You read tons of books. You've gone through a lot, right? You've learned through living and success and failure. And one of the things that comes up, the perception of network marketing is that it's full of kooks. And many people say it's nothing but a pyramid scheme. Are those valid objections for network marketing?
I'll be honest with you. I agree with most of the people that look at the network marketing space and are turned off by it because 98% of the people that are out there building, they've been told to just get excited and share it with everyone, and there is no real education. Many companies claim to have a system, but that system is not enough. I mean, you need a real foundation of financial education and owning and operating a business. You want to learn about systems and the power of it. You need to transition from the working class language into the language of the wealthy, right? Understanding what assets are, understanding what cash flow is. That's very, very important. So the 98% that are out there sharing it, they really don't know what they're doing, most of
Mhm.
them. And so for the outsider, they get turned off because they feel that it's very spammy. They feel like they can't have a normal conversation with people like that, um, and it's they walk away feeling like, well, I got to sell retail products out of my garage, and that's not the case at all. Otherwise, I would never be in it if that was the case. I'm not going to be a traveling distribution center that is running around with product in my trunk, and
Mm.
people realize that that's hokey, right? That's why they compare it to, why don't they just do this the traditional way and put it on the shelf? That's why they ask those questions. That's one part. The other thing is, most people don't know how to communicate the way we get paid. People look at the network marketing space and they say, well, that's a pyramid. Well, the thing is that most people that are saying that are employees, or they really just don't know um, how the payout really happens. And so the people that are saying it are used to getting paid out of a pyramid, right? The corporate structure pays exactly like a pyramid, right? So if you're an employee, you're getting paid like a pyramid, okay? Because you can't make more money than the person above you, the
Right.
lower management, middle management, senior management, definitely not vice president or CEO. So in their mind, anyone above you makes more money than you. The strongest characteristic of the network marketing space is that it does not pay like a pyramid.
Right. Even a police department's a pyramid, right? It's just not like any other, like a company that sells something. It is the very same thing. You got the chief, got captains, lieutenants, and then sergeants, and then the patrol people, and then the office management, which numbers in the hundreds. And yes, I mean, you can test and hopefully make it, but if you don't know the right people and the timing isn't perfect, you will never. You can have an entire career in law enforcement and never reach the next level
See,
if
that's
something
so
like
true.
that.
That
Yeah,
is so true. Let's break that down a little bit,
yeah,
because look, the corporate structure being a pyramid is truly a very fair way of pay if the government is teaching everyone to become employees, right? Because when you step in, you don't know much, you know everything in theory, and then you get hired on, and they're going to pay you according to your value and your knowledge, but you're going to have to prove yourself in order to move up the corporate ladder. What happens in the network marketing space is you immediately get paid for your value to the marketplace,
mm,
right?
yep,
You immediately get paid for your network. And so it becomes an even more fair business model, because you're not bound by seniority. The rules that govern how much income you can make are not bound by how new you are in the business or what type of education you have. The truth is, people build networks in their life through popularity, through their strength, their mental strength, or maybe they have a following in fitness, especially on social media, social platforms. People are building their networks long before they need a network, and so when they step into the network marketing space and they have influence, their earning power is in direct proportion to their level of influence. And so that's why they have the ability to make more money than anyone above them. And that
right,
is truly, truly the right way for people to get paid, I believe, when you're talking about generating wealth, right? If you're more effective than me, if you work harder than me, if you have a larger following than me, you deserve to make more money than me. And that doesn't happen unless you're in some sort of a network marketing space or an affiliate program.
right. That was awesome. So yesterday, when you're training, and we'll get to more of your what you do as far as Overcome Nation and training of all of us that are on the team. But you had this statistic that 76% of Americans are living, not or living, sorry, typo, are living paycheck to paycheck. Is network marketing the answer? And I guess I should throw in there, is it network marketing plus Overcome Nation? Is that the answer to help, 70%, 76% of Americans who just are struggling to make it every day?
Yes, I believe it is with my whole heart. So, one is, if you're going to step into the network marketing space, Overcome Nation, as far as I know, is the only uh, organization out there that is teaching financial education. And I'm not talking about balancing your checkbook type of financial education, like really knowing, understanding the language of business, the language of passive income, the language of knowing the difference between earned income and passive income, the language of understanding cash flow and cash flowing assets and systems and the philosophy of the industry, and really building the person and all the different strengths that help them to be very well rounded in their understanding of high level business. No one in the network marketing space is teaching that organized like we are. Like if they go to overcomenation.com and they see, like, we have 300 videos in there right now. That's 300 hours that have been uploaded in financial education and all the strengths: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, right? Social media strength, problem solving, perseverance, accountability, action, love. I mean, teaching. All of those strengths are very necessary to build a very large business in anything you do. So your earning power gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and your influence becomes stronger and stronger, and your value to the marketplace, begins to generate a tremendous amount of income, right? So it is the answer. People are struggling from paycheck to paycheck, and because they've been taught their whole life that they need to be an employee, and that's why they're, if you there's a short video of an interview of Grant Cardone being interviewed by one of these news anchors, and you could tell the news anchor really didn't even really understand anything about cash flowing assets or any of that. It was very obvious, almost like he was standing in disbelief. And his point was that if you have the working class language, really, I'm going to throw that word in there. He didn't use that, but you have that working class understanding, working class language, and you're very limited because the wealthy don't operate with that understanding or that language. They understand cash flow, right? Not saving your money, but having your money work harder than you can. And that's where that anchor was like, well, isn't saving great? And he's like, absolutely not, right? Because you're lucky to get 1% interest on your money, and then you're going to be taxed on it, when you pull it out. So that's why the Sharon Lecters and the Robert Kiyosaki's and the Grant Cardones and many other, even the Warren Buffetts, will tell you that saving is losing, right? And so you have to be able to get out of that space where you learn how to take your life back through understanding cash flow and what it means. I mean, to become the CEO of your life. You can only gain all of that stuff in the network marketing space with Overcome Nation. Nobody does it more effectively than we do.
Right. Last night, I wrote down, you said to be successful. I think I added that part. To be successful, remove the working class language from your life. And I circled that and put asterisks next to it to make sure. And go ahead.
Do you want me to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
The working class language is, I always know when I'm talking to somebody who's an employee because of that language. They'll talk about their job or how much they don't like their job, or their vacation time, or they use language about my boss, right? It's a different language. And so they haven't been educated in how to have money working harder than them. And so they think, I hate to say it, but they think small, right? When it comes to really going after your dreams, they think small when it comes to really, really, they use, language like, when I get a bonus, when I get a pay raise, right? Where an entrepreneur just goes out and just makes things happen, starts businesses, obeys the fire on the inside of them to go out and build something and generate a tremendous amount of cash flow. They don't see ceilings on their income, and they certainly don't ask somebody else for a pay raise. They go out and make their own pay raises, And so you're bound by the language. Well, I always say that if you want to change your life, change your language. When people start reading books, like I love to say that if you want to lead, you have to read, But when people start reading books about financial education and they start learning it and applying it, when they get around their friends, they're not talking about the things that they used to talk about anymore. They're talking about success and the
Right.
laws of business, and they're talking about high level passive income. They're talking about earning power. They're talking about systems and scaling their businesses, and they're talking a whole different language, and it becomes very apparent that they're learning something new to all their friends. And what happens is, as their language changes, so does their influence. Their friends begin to find it interesting, and their influence grows, and they start seeing that, wow, if you're going to start doing this stuff, I'm going to do it with you. I don't know what you know, but I'm pretty sure that everything you're saying is everything that I want out of life. They're talking about dreams and traveling the world and having time freedom. Everything begins to slowly change, and so they're transitioning from that. I once talked about getting a pay raise to, I'm going to go out and generate as many pay raises as I can for myself. I'm the CEO of my life. I'm self-made,
Right.
right? That's attractive when you come across people that go, let me show you how to be self-made. Imagine if you were with 10 or 15 people and like, look, I can show you how to be self-made. I could show you how to become wealthy. I could show you how to generate income. Just like Warren Buffett says, if you don't figure out how to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die, right? I can show you how to get free and get out of the rat race. Imagine if more and more people began to have that understanding, and they can impact their friends and their associates in that way. They would generate a following and a network that would go out and change their lives and build many businesses between them.
Yeah. You when you were talking, I was thinking about how ingrained the working class language is in through our schools, right? Our schools teach us to be working class, and in many cases, our parents and the people around us as we're growing up. And I remember as a kid when I was trying to be a magician. You may not know this about me, but I was a magician, did
That's
magic,
awesome.
and I juggled, and I did comedy, and I would go and audition and do all these things. And my mom hated it. She said, "Why don't you just get a job at McDonald's like your siblings? They all worked at Big T Burger there in La Mirada, California. They all worked at Taco Tio. What are you doing? Trying to be this thing, this business." And it just made her so upset. She would cry because I had an entrepreneur mind early on, and it really it hurt I kind of getting kind of upset just thinking about it, because it was this. I had to move out. I moved out at 17 because
Wow.
it was so hard to live at home because I was different, right? I was speaking a different language, not quite to what I'm doing now and what I'm learning through Overcome Nation, but I was looking at something completely different. It was so foreign, to what I was being taught and what my parents knew. You had to go get a job. You had to work 9 to 5. What are you doing trying to do? My sister worked at Hewlett Packard and had a job. Everybody had a job. And what's Andy doing? Trying to be something else, right? And it's so risky, they said. You never know how much money you're going to make. And I go, I work harder. I mean, I'm learning. I've immersed myself in all of these things. I read books. And I hated reading books before that, but I was reading every business book and every magician book, magic book, a theatrical book. I was taking courses at Cal State Fullerton on how to do all these things so I could be successful. And they go, "What are you doing?" It's so odd. And I think it's hard for people. And the reason I wrote that down is because this is something I want to teach my kids. And I get very emotional about my kids, but not teaching them the working class language, I think is key.
Right.
That's why I love it that they watch some of the videos and hear you speak. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but it was
Yeah.
tough growing up.
Sure. Yeah. I have a lot to say about that. I'll keep it short though, but that's the blueprint that we've been raised with, right? It becomes the blueprint of the way we think. And that's why we end up growing up and being a slave to money instead of a master of it, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And I mean, Kiyosaki would laugh all the time because his his family members, aunts and uncles, even his father, were highly educated teachers and professors, and they were so blueprinted into that philosophy that even when he had 50 and $100 million, um, you know, real estate portfolios, his family were saying, Robert, why don't you just go get a job? you know, and so, but that's what we become. We become what we hear in the house. We become what the school system teaches us. And there's a growing number of, and I'm not against education, by the way. I think you should have both. But there's a growing number of of highly successful people and gurus and all of that are out there that are very, very wealthy, that are now out there openly saying you don't need college anymore.
Mm.
And I know those are heavy, heavy words for people to swallow when that's such a solid blueprint on the inside of you. Now, for some people, college is great because they want to be an employee. They want to go to work for somebody. That's how they feel, secure. But for the person that has a spark of entrepreneurship and they want to build big businesses and they want to lead and they want to use their vision and their imagination, college is probably not a good idea for them.
Mhm.
Some people will get out there and say college is just an outright scam, to put all you lose four, like Grant Cardone was saying that. He was saying you lose four years of earning power, just learning scholastic education and not really learning how to deal with money, and then you leave 50,000 to $200,000 in debt. And most of those people, those student loans, they hang on their life for 40 years, and they're not making enough money to pay for it, and they continue to put that loan in forbearance. So they're pushing
Yeah.
it back and pushing it back and pushing it back, and so you and I remember what it was like, when we were growing up, and the only time you could get great information at home was from an Encyclopedia Britannica, you
Yeah.
know. And I didn't have that. My parents couldn't afford an
Yeah.
entire Encyclopedia Britannica.
I could s- I
Now,
could smell, I could smell the books as you said that word.
yes, yes. And so I had to go to my friend Bob's house. He's my best friend in school growing up because his parents were really into education and all that. And so when I had reports I had to do, I had to go hang out with him and look through that encyclopedia. But now you have everything that you could imagine. The information age is
Yeah.
truly here. It's been here. It's getting stronger. I mean, you could learn about anything in depth in life and walk out with a hell of a lot more information and tailor it to your need and what your application to what you want to do and become. And then all you got to do is take massive action, and it's a hell of a lot less expensive. But you want to go out there and build something, not go to work for somebody else.
Right. So I've talked about Overcome Nation before and to my audience and talked about it, but I want to hear from you. What is Overcome Nation? And I guess also, what is Overcome Nation to you?
Well, I've had to overcome a lot of obstacles in life. I got straight A's in school when my parents paid me to get on the honor roll, and when they didn't pay for me to get on the honor roll, I was bored with it. I was always incentively driven, and so. But I also knew that I always had to learn how to do things wrong before I could do them right. I knew that. I remember sitting in that blue little chair in fifth grade and connected to the seat where you slide in, and I remember saying to myself, I have a feeling I'm going to fail a lot in life. And it was really an image that I had in my mind that I tend to do things wrong before I do them right. That's how I learn. But it wasn't until later in life I realized that I was in good company, because entrepreneurs and business owners learn by going out and having those setbacks. You figure it out. I think video games have really helped our kids to understand how to level up. You figure out how to get to the next level. You figure out how to get to the next, and you have to fail many times and then hit the game over and use your imagination and your techniques in order to get higher and higher. Well, business is no different than that. And so because I've had, a difficult life, I had a great childhood, but my adulthood, I had to overcome a lot of stuff and I had to become bigger than the obstacles that stood in front of me. I had to become bigger than my debt, bigger than my pain, bigger than my sadness, bigger than the situation in business that I needed to find a solution for and solve problems and serve a need. So much of that, I realized that I always used the word overcome, overcome,
Mhm.
overcome, overcome. It was so deep embedded in my DNA that when I wanted to start a team, I thought I'm going to call it Overcome Nation, because I'm going to teach people that if you want to be successful in life, you have to solve a lot of problems. And so you have to overcome a lot of stuff, uh, personal stuff, financial stuff, business, whatever it is, these temporary setbacks. Nothing fails like success. Nothing fails like success. So, when you step into building yourself, you're going to have a lot of temporary setbacks and small failures, but that is how you retain. It was interesting because when I was going to, I was mentored, I would buy into the mentor program that Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter did in Scottsdale, Arizona. I did that for 5 years. And, Sharon Lechter was involved in a study of education on how children learn and retain. And the government spent $2 billion trying to find out the highest way of retention, how we learn. And so it was like almost like it was like an upside down pyramid, and you worked upward. And it's so the highest retention of learning was by doing, getting out there and making the mistakes and taking action. That's the highest degree of retention. And so back when you and I were going to school, you didn't do much, you didn't do much of getting out there, and it's okay to fail. They don't teach you that, right? Failing it was like a mortal sin, right? And then group study was borderline cheating, and so they didn't do much of that. But that is really the highest percentage of retention comes by getting out there and figuring it out and making the mistakes. So in Overcome Nation, I knew that if when you look in the mirror and you begin to build yourself and you invest in yourself, you have to let go of the fear of failing. You have to learn and embrace overcoming. I'll say this too before I kick it back to you, is that I was reading and spent a lot of time studying the way employee-minded people and the working class language really think, and from the big business owners and entrepreneurs. And an employee-minded, the employee mindset looks at struggle as absolutely avoided at all costs. But the big business owner and entrepreneur mindset is they look at struggle as weightlifting, working out. It's making you stronger. And in Overcome Nation, that's our goal, to make you, the overall message is to make you stronger, but to give you way more than what you are paying for, to teach you to go from follower to leader, to give you the education to go from employee mindset to big business owner mindset, so you can get out of the rat race. And so it all revolves around overcoming.
Yeah, what you just said, again, another reminder of, you can sit here and watch all the videos, and you can read all the books, and you can have instruction from people, and you can write things down like I write down when I'm listening to your videos. Those are all my notes from last night. And you can do all that stuff. But in the police academy, it's the same thing, right? You go through the police academy, they give you all kinds of tests. They teach you how to use cover, and the different, laws, the sections you're going to use in the penal code and that kind of stuff. But that's all good and it's all necessary. But I really didn't start learning how to be a cop until I strapped on the gun belt and hit the streets and started getting shot at. Then now I know how to use cover, and now I know why cover is important, right? And being involved and getting in fights and learning how to get out of situations where you may be losing a fight and having to break somebody's arm for real is and actually doing it. And I know this is very graphic, but it's just like an example of, you can do all this learning, but if you don't jump in and start using it and applying it and learning from your mistakes and your failures, like you said, I made some mistakes. Some people got away from me and I wasn't able to do anything about it. And you had to learn from those mistakes. Some of my biggest mistakes became books. Some of my biggest mistakes have become stage talks where I talk about my failure when I had a business that had 500 employees and I lost everything, almost lost my house. I lost my marriage. I lost everything. But they've become books and they've become talking points for stage talks and being on television and that kind of stuff. And so you use those failures not only to improve yourself, but then improve others through your message and through your story. So I really love what you just got done saying. All those things went through my head as you were talking.
And before you ask the next question, I want to say something about that too, because you paid a heavy price and you paid for it once, right? That's what's so powerful. People think that when we pay for lessons and we pay for education, we're only paying with money. but in your failures, you're paying through your experience. You're paying with pain, and you'll pay for that class once. You know, when I lost a $10 million deal one time early in my career, a land deal, and I only had to pay for that once, and it was from a very simple mistake that I did not pay attention to, right? So you'll never do that again, right? And that's why it's
Yeah.
so powerful. That's how that's why, you say your pain has really produced books on your behalf. Your pain and your experiences and your failures have been an invitation for you to be on the platform and on the stage and to teach. So powerful.
Yeah, thanks. So last night you said something, and I think you're kind of speaking to it right now. Is that and I'm not sure if I got the quote right, but you said it's not just business and it's just not ministry. What did you mean by that? And is there more that I should have picked up from what you were saying?
Sure. Well, when you're dealing with people and you're educating people, the masses in the network marketing space, none of us are perfect. We all come in with our problems, our pain, our burdens, our drama. And so you're encouraging people, you're inspiring people, you're teaching people.
Oh no.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Shit, I can't hear you.
I can hear you. We can hear you, I think.
I cannot hear you. Let me see how I get you back.
You can just
I can see you, but I can't hear you.
You can just refresh. You can refresh and it'll come right back.
Shoot. I will sign back on, I think.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's see here.
Those darn phone calls come in and we lose one another.
How about now?
You can just go out and come back in. I know. Go out, close out, and then open it back up. How's my sign language? Close it out. There you go. And he'll be right back. Wow, this is really good. I only have 3 more questions, and I'm going to be hitting some personal questions here. If you're watching, again, feel free to comment. I see the numbers going up and down a little bit. For those of the people that didn't stay on, I'm going to get them with these next questions, and I think you're going to appreciate these next questions. So you're going to want to be on.
How you doing? Here. Can you hear me now?
All right. Yeah,
okay.
No problem.
Apologize.
That's why I love StreamYard. These things kind of can happen and you come right back on. So go ahead and finish.
So where were we? I forgot.
Start all
over. You asked me a question on something that you picked up last. Oh, okay. It's neither ministry. Yes. Okay. So when you're dealing with the masses, you spend a lot of time inspiring people and encouraging people and counseling people. It's a lot like ministry, right? And when we step into the network marketing space and we want to teach them the business, we would love to just make it all about business and education and all of that. But you're dealing with everyone that says, I want to go after my dream. And they come in with either a lot of education or no education when it comes to business. And so you're sorting out all of that stuff. My biggest takeaway from the network marketing space in the 15 years I've been doing it full time, and I've been dealing with the masses for probably 30 years just with people, and so my biggest takeaway in this space is that it's not just business and it's not just ministry, it's something in between. And the sooner a person can accept that, then the next thing is, okay, I have to care about people because I need to help them to believe in themselves. Most people don't believe in themselves. There's a lot of depression out there and people that are living paycheck to paycheck, and they disqualify themselves, and they see somebody like you getting on here doing your talk show and all of that, and they're like, I could never be Andy. I could never do what Andy is. And you're like, no, let me show you how to do that, right? And so you're inspiring them and lifting them and getting them to come to a place where they start having vision for their life. So you're doing a lot of counseling in the network marketing space. Now, if you go too far where it's only like ministry and counseling for you, then you're not teaching enough business and you handicap a lot of people, and then you're literally doing it for free. I remember one of the highest paid network marketers that have ever lived in this industry, 140-year industry, said, Rick, do you want a ministry or do you want a business? I said, I want a business. He goes, all right, well then stop working for free, you know? And so he was right. And so you have to do a little bit of both, right? Or you have to do a whole lot of both and accept the fact that if you're going to deal with people, you have to learn strong social skills. You have to learn to pour into them. You have to care about them. And the person that cares a lot about their people, but still never forgets about the importance of educating them in financial education, those are people that are going to go out and build massive businesses. And also, I'll say this too, that's why you're not just a leader in this space, you're also a shepherd. You're protecting them, you're caring for them, you're lifting them, you're in conversations, you're identifying where they may be coming up short, and you become the best coach that you possibly can. There are times when you have to be really tender, and then there's times where you have to, really be hard, and you have to be rough on them. You have to give them that tough love, and knowing the difference is really important, and that comes through time, and that brings a lot of answers to people that are struggling in the network marketing space, because they've been told, I just want to bless everybody. I just want to bless everybody. And then they don't teach them about business, and their friends are like, come on, you can't care about me that much. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they never build big businesses because nobody's doing anything and everybody's counseling one another. You have to have both, but it's that place that's in between that makes you effective.
Yeah, that's what I like about being on this team with you and the other people that are on there, and the leadership at Vasayo with Dallin Larson and Carrie and Daniel Piku. We get this opportunity many times to actually meet you guys and be in the same room, listen to you speak, talk to you on the phone, text message back and forth. And it really becomes true, because I think there's some people that have been watching me and I talk about how great it is and why I'm here, that I'm probably here more for Overcome Nation than I am for Vasayo, which is really bizarre, because I came into it because I love the products. Yeah. They've changed my life, but Overcome Nation has done just a little bit more for my life. And so, and that's what I love about it. And I can say that, right? And they can say, oh, you're just trying to sell your products. Oh, you're just trying to, build up, and try to get me to join you. And then they finally meet you, or they might meet Kim Botker or, Dallin Larson, all those people. And they go, oh my gosh, these guys, they're real. And it doesn't matter when you catch them, and everybody has a bad day, but for the most part, anytime you catch them, they are, they're fantastic people. And right?
You just said something that's very, very important that most people miss. You said that, it's like, I care more about the team in Overcome Nation than I do about Vasayo. And I know exactly what you mean by that, but I want to just elaborate. That's the right perspective that you need to have, because you're building your business. What makes Vasayo work for all of us is the educational system in Overcome Nation, the culture, the relationships, the unity. I'm my brother's keeper. We build as a team. We build as one. And so where people get it confused in the network marketing space is they come in worshiping the corporate gods, and they forget that they are the business. They are the network. You're building your network. Your identity is found in your team, right? Your identity should not be found in a company. It should be found in your team, because if you don't have a team, it doesn't matter how great the company is, it's not going to work. Right? It continues to fragment and fall apart, and it's not unified. It's like, there's many, many teams in the NFL, but they belong to the NFL, right? And so it's a lot like that, right? So that perspective of putting a higher value on your team and what we're doing is the way it should be, right? And then Vasayo is wonderful. They have wonderful products. That's why we have aligned our team, our network with them, but they are a fulfillment center, and they have to be, and they're very efficient, and they're wonderful, and they'll build I believe they'll build a legacy company. But nothing is important as your team, because if you don't have a team and if you don't cultivate that, you won't be in the industry very long, because your business won't cash flow. So I wish more and more people could see what you just said, because that is the right perspective.
Awesome. I feel it. I tell
Mhm.
people all the time. I didn't just say this in front of you. At the event, you honor the military and law enforcement. We even sing, say the Pledge of Allegiance, sing the Star Spangled Banner, I think it was, or America the Beautiful. I
Yep.
can't remember which one.
Yep.
Where does that come from? Why is that important to you?
Well, I mean, to me, America is the greatest country in the world, and we wouldn't have the freedom that we have if it wasn't for the vets, if it wasn't for law enforcement. You know, my father was an LA County sheriff and retired as an LA County sheriff, but he served 4 years in the Navy, and then he served 4 years in the Army and went to Korea, two Purple Hearts, and came back as an amazing father. But later in life, when he started to slow down in his 70s, PTSD began to wake up on the inside of him, and he
Right.
struggled with PTSD until he passed away at 86. And so all that stuff that's my roots. That's our roots. And uh, this will start a whole new thing, but I'm just going to go out and say it. There is not enough respect for law enforcement.
Mm.
There's not enough. There is not enough value that's been placed on them. My dad would roll over in his grave if he could see the way law enforcement is being treated in this country. It's disgusting. And even growing up, my dad said, Ricky, if you ever get pulled over, you say yes, sir, no, sir. You answer him. You make sure you are very respectful and you keep both hands on that wheel. You show them where your hands are, right? And so that's the way I was when I got pulled over. If I ever was pulled over by a police officer, it was absolute respect, and I'm telegraphing anything that I'm doing. And today, everybody's got a video camera
Right.
and trying to make them look like they're doing something wrong. But when trouble comes, who do they call? They call a
Right.
cop, and because they know the cop's going to put himself or herself in the line of fire. When it comes to the military, I gravitate to military men because I didn't serve. I didn't want to go into the Army. I wanted to step into business. But I have a great respect because I wouldn't be able to have any of the freedoms or any of the things that I have today if it wasn't for the blood that was shed, for us to have the freedom that we have. Everybody knocks America, but they all want to live here.
Right. Well, I appreciate it very much. I appreciate you're taking the time to do that very much. I appreciate it. Here's a little bit of a personal question, so hope you don't mind. And that is, by all appearances, it appears right now that you have some fantastic relationships. You got Courtney Kathleen via Facebook, a fantastic woman. I really I love her, not as much as you do probably, but I love her just because I've seen her do some amazing things for people and be there for people. Your daughter's fantastic. I was able to meet her and interview her for a short period of time on the time that you had a well built in her name, and you got all these friends surrounding you. And so this question comes up to me, and I was thinking about this at the gym this morning when I was working out, so I didn't look so small next to you. That's why my picture's bigger. But would real estate Rick and the gemstone Rick have the same powerful relationships as the Overcome Nation Rick? Is this something new, or is?
Wow, what a great question, bro. That's a great one. No, no, absolutely not. You don't really realize. I mean, some people put real value on friendships and relationships at a young age. I had my close friends growing up, and that was it. I was nice to everybody. I let a lot of people in, and not everybody that enters your gate seeks your friendship, right? Some
Right.
of them just are, that are they want what you have instead of wanting your heart. And so going through the pain of that, I realized how rare it is to have friendships that are unconditional.
Mm.
And so in the real estate industry, when I was heavily involved in it, and the diamond and gemstone industry, I was just really serving a need, but not building people. And now, in the last 15 years, especially in the last 3, I really understand building people and what that means. And in building people, I found that there are friendships that were formed that didn't just want what they had. They just wanted to, to love me and support me and unconditionally, serve and help. And I try to be that way. So it's opened up my eyes to see the types of people that actually want to build a strong friendship with me instead of what I can give them. And so I put a tremendous amount of value on that and I cherish that deeply. But I think that when you step into your 40s and 50s, your life looks for more meaning, right? You
Mm.
want more
Yeah.
meaningful relationships, and you mature and you tend not to take people for granted. I'm sure I've hurt, people in my past because, they were a better friend to me than I was to them. So I'm guilty of it as well. But in this stage of my life, I really see way more than I ever did. And so um, I feel like when you sow real seeds of friendship, you're going to get a harvest of wonderful friends. And um, with regard to Courtney too, I mean, I found a person that wants to serve people as much as I do unconditionally.
Mm.
And so I've never met anyone like her, and it has been a massive, massive blessing in my life. And knowing, we're both, I'm 10 years older than her, but we're both at that stage in our life where we don't take people for granted, and we don't take each other for granted, and it's really blossomed into an amazing relationship, even though we live in two different states.
Yeah.
The pain of being distant in traffic.
Ah. Oh no. I have one more question. Again, make sure and comment if you're watching. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are. If there's a question you may have for me or Rick after this is over that we could comment on, maybe even um, answer any questions that you might have. But I only have one more question, and that was he was just talking about Courtney and those darn phone calls come in. And so he should be back on here in a short time. I'd shared the website for just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and share it again for just a second. But this is a list of the videos that are in Overcome Nation. Again, that's just a part of them. I don't want to go off this page. I would zoom in and go up, but I could keep scrolling up and scrolling up, and that list just continues on there. And you can word search in Overcome Nation and answer any question you may have about business, about how to do a one-on-one, to how to do an interview like I'm doing right now. And I'm going to drop this back down here. But oops, shoot. Hold on. I'll be right with you, Rick. 1 second. There we go. Bring him up. There you are. All right. You're back. You were talking about Courtney. Oh no, now we can't hear you. I can't hear you. Dang. One more time, because I only have one more question. So sorry. Oh, love technology. It's fantastic. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. Barbara, it's my cuz. My gosh. Yeah. And so in Overcome Nation, it's just new, right? It's just been built and created so that it takes all of the videos and all of the documents that were once living on the Facebook private group, which it was a lot harder to navigate. And so they put it into a website where you can word search. You can just simply watch 1 through 10, and there's different categories. And so they've done a really good job of bringing it all together. Rick's coming back on now. And so it's a great opportunity to learn through the Overcome Nation website. All right. Oh, I can hear you
me now.
Yes. All right. Did you want to finish with Courtney?
Now, yeah, I was just going to say, it's really, she is definitely going to, I'm not letting this one slip through my hands.
No.
For sure. She will definitely be my wife.
So jealous of your relationship. I dream that I will have that relationship someday. I'm hopeful that it'll have something just like that. It's the picture that I have in my mind now, which you may never, maybe that's too high.
You'll have it, brother. You will
All right.
have it.
All right, last question, and this needs a little bit of a setup, and I'm just gonna. May take just a second here to. I'm gonna ask the question and tell you what I'm thinking here, but I want to know: could Overcome Nation and the business school exist with a lesser network marketing company, or have the planets just simply lined up? And the planets being Dallin Larson, Carrie Larson, Daniel Piku, Dan, what's his name? The guy
Dan Zhu.
Dan Zhu, Tracy Gibbs, you. The people that you have surrounded yourself with, all those planets just seem to be perfect. Is that the only way that Overcome Nation exists, or could you have another team and again a lesser? I say lesser because I don't know that there's any better network marketing business than Vasayo.
That's another fantastic question, brother. Very solid question. And so I'm going to say this: yes, it could. It could, because we're solving a problem in the network marketing space, and that problem is building people and the financial education and being an owner operator of a business and all of the things that we discussed earlier in this interview. But in defense of Vasayo, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's built Dallin Larson, who has helped build 2 companies to $1 billion in sales. Excuse me. And out of 43,000 network marketing companies that have launched since the year 2000, there's only been 12 to 13 that ever hit $1 billion. And he was able to do that twice. You know, USANA is still a multi-billion-dollar company. He drove that ship. You know, he was the CEO of that company. And so there's a lot to be said about that. I believe that Vasayo is really operating as a 10 in its ability to produce products that are disruptive. It's a 10 in its efficiency to get product to us. It's a 10 in its tools. It's a 10 in its customer service. It's a 10 in the fact that they're only 3 years old and already debt free. It's a 10 in the fact that they're only 3 years old and already have done somewhere between 100 and 150 million in sales. It's a 10 in its ability to open up countries. We're already in 11 countries. And so you'd have to find a company that is operating as a 10, and that is really, really hard pressed to do. And here's the other thing: it would be very, very difficult to find that, because they're simply the only ones that are operating as a 10 that, when I look at the competitive landscape, are the ones that have been around for many, 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 many years. But the trouble is, when companies have been around for many years and that market is already well penetrated over the course of 10, 15, 20 years or more, everyone has already heard about the company. They've already heard about the opportunity, and they have the shirt, you know? And so it's not new. It's not new innovation. It's I look at that as a strong, like a Microsoft, yeah, but you know, you'd have to come out and introduce something new and get it in its sweet spot. You know, Vasayo is about to start entering its sweet spot in the 3rd year, because we're no longer a startup. And the timing is perfect for somebody to step in, because the bugs have been removed, right? The company has been refined in terms of its efficiency and the way it operates and all of that. And so what happens now is the big 6 and 7, multiple 6 and 7 figure earners, even 8-figure earners, they're going to start really stepping in, because we've already proven that we've done extraordinary things in that 3-year period of time, and we are not going away. So I believe that there is no better opportunity out there than Vasayo at all. It's like crickets out there when it comes to timing and all of that. But if you don't have an Overcome Nation, if you don't have a system that's really giving people the roots that they need to take a company that's operating as a 10 and turn it into a massive organization, if you don't have that, and they don't, then it's you're most likely you're going to be in and out of the business within 1 to 5 years, because what
Right.
happens is even the best, their income spike and then they drop because they don't have a root system, they don't have financial education, they don't work on capacity, they're not building people, they're only building one facet of the education, not the whole thing, not the whole circle of that 360-degree capacity, right? So
Yep.
I won't say it's impossible, but you'd be hard pressed to try to find something the same, because we have, when you have Overcome Nation operating as a 10, and then you have a company that's operating as a 10, and that's really hard to beat.
Yep. Well, I appreciate it, because this is really my first, well, this is my second network marketing business. And I really didn't intend to be a network marketer. And it's been a great
Neither
experience.
did I.
I'm very fortunate that I landed here with the help of our mutual friend, Vinny Pizzo. So I'm thankful to him too for introducing us. I'm glad that on our third call, you said, "Hey, crap or get off the pot." Because
I did,
you were
yes.
done with me for the third call. Like, hey, this is 3 calls, dude. Appreciate all the discussion, but I appreciate you very much, and appreciate all that you do for all of us. And
Well, Andy, look, you are an incredible asset to this team. And from the moment you stepped in, you led, you did the interviews, you brought attention, you evolved, right? I mean, you were all product in the beginning, remember? And
yeah,
we had to really show you the value of education, and your language has truly, truly changed. And
yeah,
seeing what you're doing, just your line of questioning here. When you first enrolled and we did this, the questions were nothing like this. Like, these are the best questions I've ever heard.
wow,
And so, I know Overcome Nation loves you. I love you. Courtney loves you. All the leadership love you and appreciate you. And you are an amazing asset to this team. So thank you so much for being that for us.
well, I'm going to go sob somewhere. What is it about when you get in your 50s that you get so? I appreciate it. I,
Exactly. Me too.
I have to make a joke about it, because I'm thankful, and I appreciate it. I found a home, and I just love being here with you guys. So all of our team was watching. There was a bunch of people on there. I put their comments on. I want to thank them. If I start naming people, I'm going to forget somebody, so I don't want to do that. But we will see you at the next interview, and we'll see you in Florida. And where else? Where's the next one? Missouri, right?
St.
Missouri.
Louis. Yes.
Overcome Nation.
April 17th to the 19th. Yes.
All right. Well, I hope to see you before that. But to everybody,
Yes,
thanks for
we will.
watching. Share this. Make sure and comment when you're watching the replay. And I appreciate all your comments. Ask any questions, and both Rick and I will try to answer them the best that we can. All right. That's it. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Rick.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.